Well, to some news now from the coast, where Kenyans at the coast of Kenya may have to wait much longer before two ferries that had been planned to operate along the Likoni Channel can start operations, because marine insurance company Bond Risk Surveyors is in court to stop the docking of the 2 billion shilling vessels, citing a warped procurement process and a low standard of the procured vessels. This now ultimately injures President Uhuru Kenyatta's plan to launch the vessels before the August 8th election, something that, of course, the Jubilee campaign has been, using as its linchpin at the coast. Well, to bring us up to speed on what exactly is the perspective from this story, what has transpired so far today, my colleague, Francis Ontoma, a reporter at the coast, is now standing by to bring us the latest live. Well, Francis, you are on the ground. What exactly has happened, and do we still expect that these vessels will be delivered before August the 8th, especially in view of the new hitch?
Well, Wakaba, that looks so unlikely at this particular moment, and we are broadcasting on the sidelines here of court proceedings behind me. We are at the Mombasa locals, where proceedings are going on to determine whether this is going to be realized. But as it looks, it's not going to happen that soon as it had been expected. And what is happening here, Bond Risk Surveyors, a marine company, is in court here to challenge the procurement of two vessels, 2 billion shillings vessels that had been earmarked to start operations any moment next month here in Mombasa. And if you are a resident of Mombasa, or if you've had a chance to cross the main Likoni Channel, that is South Coast and Mombasa Island, you will appreciate that indeed there has been a huge problem there to do with crossing from one end to the other. And the Kenya Ferry Services had procured two vessels to enable that particular commuters actually to move from one end to another. But this company has come here. This company had been charged with the supervision and the inspection of these vessels, but they had been the contract that they had been given, the tender, was taken away from them, and they are back here in court to challenge the standards of these two vessels, and they are saying they're not of the right standards, and they are saying that they are defective. What they are actually asking here is for this whole thing to be quashed by the court. But that is what Kenya Ferry is also challenging here in court. They are saying they followed the due process, and these two vessels are on their way. Actually, they're saying one vessel is already on transit, and on Wednesday it will be docking here in Mombasa. But until this case is fully determined, this ferry will not start operations at that particular moment. So it will be a wait and see affair of how this whole thing is going to develop. Important at this particular point is to look at the implications of what will be following this. President Uhuru Kenyatta was set to launch this vessel. Of course, this is one of the biggest projects that they are doing down here in the coast region. He was set to launch this project any moment next month, and therefore, in fact, actually this month, therefore, this looks like a huge setback. Until all this matter will be resolved, this may not really take off. There was a gentleman who had come here to court to join forces with Kenya Ferry Services and to petition for these two ferries to come back and to come to Kenya actually and to start operations, but that is yet to be determined here in court. And it is also important to note and to tell our viewers that these two ferries were set to come all the way from Turkey. They were procured from Turkey, and they were supposed to be here, and operations begin sometime next month. And this whole issue, of course, right now, at least some 4 ferries are operating right now. It's not quite enough. These two ferries are the biggest actually in the history of Kenya Ferry. They are labeled as what will have been the biggest facility vessels ever to be brought here, because their capacity is about 1,500 people and 62 cars, 3 trailers, all at one go. Therefore, you can picture the magnitude of how much they will have helped to ease congestion and delays at the main Likoni Channel. Therefore, we're still waiting here, Wakaba, to see what the court will determine, the direction that the court will offer as regards where this whole matter will be headed to, Wakaba.
Well, indeed, interesting times there at the coast. My colleague, Francis Ontoma, bringing us the latest. Thank you very much for that update. And of course, something that